consider this the 29th, right? We're gonna consider this the 29th when I release this. But so it's been a great 2021. It's been a great 21, right? I've had my ups, I've had my downs, especially as 21. So to my 22 self, I'm happy we're able to do the things we did. This right here, for example, is another one. But I think, there's a lot to come from this, right? And I think, your passion for music, your love for this, your love for that, I think those kind of do take perspectives on the way that you look at things, right? Like it's very different. So, I think that's probably the best part of that situation. And so, we're gonna talk about that show for a minute that you created, that we had partners like Verbal, Amazon Music, Spotify, Anchor, of course, Radio Republic, which we just did, iHeartRadio, that we just got approved for, like, overall, like, before your 22nd birthday, man. We've done so much, and I do thank you for those brands that helped me do the way that I did. I pray they did great. We had a great working relationship. You got your Tumblr and you got that hat from My Prairie, and I think that, that kind of made you set your standards the way you do, right? Like, that was a great business opportunity that, I think you did perfectly fine with, My Prairie. You're not a very, you're not a very, social person when you were 21. So when you're 22, I hope you're a bit more social. While we're at that, the music podcast is doing great right now. Not to toot my own horn, but you're getting your kind of experience, but you also are, in a weird way, like kind of building like your show. Like, your show has involved, like, you've done takes. You've done takes in your car, you've done takes while you're walking, you've done takes in this room, right? Like, you've done takes many places. And to that extent, 22 is not that different from 22, but I age up, right? So, and this year in 2022, I'm looking at this, I hope you enjoy being 22, right? But I hope you understand, right? Like, there are brands that you want to work with, like Harry. You want to work with them. You want to work with brands like Harry. You want to work with a company that does shoes and stuff like that. Like, you want to do a lot, right? And then you also want to be able to put on live shows, right? Like live events, like when you do episodes and stuff, like on the Patreon and stuff. Like, if you were to create a Patreon and stuff like that, but you also want to help people promote their brands, like myplay.org, which I think drops, you already worked on that, and that drops the same time this drops, right? And I think that to its own extent is amazing in itself, right? Because you took the time to do it all, right? Like, you didn't cut any loopholes. You did it all. You focused on yourself and you did it, which is amazing. Looking at this, thinking 21 years ago, this wasn't possible, right? Like, we've made the accomplishments, man. So when you turn 22, right, I hope you're not as picky as you were when you were 21. And I mean that in a lot of things, like the brand deals that you took. You ain't gotta be so picky, man. And, work that relationship between you and My Perry, Plug Boutique, and overall a lot of other brands, right? Like, you worked with a few brands over time, right? And the Spotify thing is just a step into with more brands. You did my brand intro, and I think that's amazing, right? Like, looking at it, almost about to be 22, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, you've done a lot. It may not have been the way that you wanted them to be, but they're done. Believe it or not. That's so bizarre for me, because it's done, right? Like, these episodes are done. You can put them in the back of your lock and, you know, be on season 17 and really enjoy it. But I know it's bittersweet, and it's showing your face to show that you run the music podcast or Let's Get Your Music podcast, right? Like that's you kind of stepping up, being more sociable, right? And I think deep down inside of you, you kind of probably needed this experience more than you think, right? Like you needed 21 to get to 22, but I think, you know, looking back, there's a few things that you probably do regret, and there's probably a few things that you're not officially over, but like 2022 was looking okay. Like you're not where you're not where you were at when you were 18, 19, or 20. 21, it looks like it's a better year looking up, right? But I think it's a weird thing to look at, right? But also, happy birthday, because you're 22. When you see this, you'll be 22. So, you didn't have Sierra and Junior like, you know, the plan was, and you're not married by 25. Clearly, if you're 22 now, but look, overall, you know, I do wish you the best of being 22, and if you ask me, I've grown much more than I probably would have if I hadn't been through that experience at 19 and 20 and 21, right? And I think that's so weird to say and be like, you know what, I didn't regret that, but it was a learning experience. So I you know, it's making me more sociable, making me more cute, you know, stuff like that, stuff that I probably would have missed. I'm not missing, right? So supposed to graduate at one place in 2022, and then here probably a few years later. But you know, looking at this roster, I think firstly, you're probably very happy. I think that's genuinely we can tell, right? So, or you're genuinely better than you were before. So I just wish you a happy second birthday, man. Happy 22 birthday, and I know I'm saying this to myself, which sounds really ironic, but it is kind of a relief, kind of, because if you would ask me at 19, 20, and 21 where I would have been, probably couldn't tell you. If you had told me we're gonna shoot a thing and see where it gets you, probably couldn't tell you. If you had told me, hey, you're gonna get the opportunity to work with Verbal, I probably would have said that's impossible, but we did it, you know. I did work with Amazon Music too, which I think is great. iHeartRadio, you got the nerve to do it before you turn 22, but you did it, and I think, you know, that's overall, like, that's amazing. You put your podcast on Apple Podcasts, and the rest is history. But like, you've done it in 2020. You've done it in 2020. You did it really when you were 21, and this has been a fun journey to do, but also been a healing journey at 21. So 22 to more healing to you, and I hope you really do enjoy your kind of birthday, man. It's, you know, it's simple, but you're working with brands now, and you could be a face of a brand. So I do wish you the best. You know, that's all I can really hope for right now, man. I can't tell you what's gonna happen in 22. I know we gotta wait for 25 or something, but at 22, man, you've done two of the things that you wanted to do, and I know, you know, do I have any regrets with my 21 year? Not really. You know, I think I've done some of the stuff I wanted to do. You know, there's things that you want to do, but you haven't done yet, and at some point you will. Like, that's, you know, the past 3 years weren't what you expected them to be and all of that, but I think if you look at where you're at now compared to where you thought you were going to be, I think, you know, you're better off right now. So, for the love of God, when you're 22, stop being a critic. Stop being so critical of yourself, which sounds weird with less than 48 hours to the actual date, but like, you you deserve it, man. Like, you really do, and I know you don't feel that way right now, but you kind of deserve it. So we shall see. Much love, but we shall see. That's all I can tell you right now. So I hope 22 is a great journey for you, and I hope you enjoy that concert you're gonna probably watch on YouTube later. But for real, man, you did the podcast. The podcast was great. You've gotten more sociable. You got more sociable. You weren't very social. You're still introverted, but you've done so much to improve it. In 21, that at 22, hopefully you just become more sociable, right? Like, that's the goal. That's what we hope for. But only time will tell. So happy 22nd birthday, and much love, man. And thank you to all the brands that helped me kind of create this dream for myself, and I'm happy that I was able to do projects with like Thursday Night Thoughts, which is TNT, which that experience for me was great. It was very, it made you more sociable, right? So that situation, and you're here, so you did something right, which I think is amazing. So overall, I say enjoy 22, but thank you to all the brands. That's Verbally, that's Amazon Music, that's Radio Republic, that's Verbal, that's Anchor, that's Spotify, that's, I'm missing one company, man, but we've kind of made like our movement and brands we want to work with before, and brands we want to work with in the future, which we can get to that, we can do that, but we gotta keep grinding and making the moves that we do, but that requires us being more sociable. So yeah, but this is kind of also a official review for the King CJ podcast, music podcast. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing. I don't know where this is gonna lead me, but I do hope we do get more brands and we do promote what we love, and so this year is necessary. So then this is the important year. So I do hope you enjoyed it. We'll see.